Another Monday morning quarterback episode brought to you by none other than Copilot by Microsoft. And thank you again for having me here, guys. It's going to be a wonderful episode. We've got some heartbreak. We've got some exciting future things happening. We have a bunch of coaching vacancies. We've got some bold predictions, some landing spots, and everything in between. I will say we got one more good game tonight. We got the Steelers. We've got the Texans. And I'm really excited to see how this game goes. I think it could go a couple different ways. We know the Texans defense is phenomenal, but Aaron Rodgers, gotta love it. It's going to be awesome. Glad you guys are here. Excited to interact with you guys in chat, get all of your opinions, your feedback, everything you have going. I want it all. I want you guys to let me know how you feel because we're going to make this a very interactive show today, but it is time to get this thing going. Look at this, guys. We're at the NFL playoffs, scrolling bottom with stats. And who are we? Let's get it. I love it. Shout out to the producers. Shout out to everybody in the background that is helping making this show come to life. But we've got to talk about it. Let's talk about Wild Card Weekend because it was phenomenal. All besides the game last night, I would say we might have had some of the best football matchups, final scores, 2 minutes, everything we could have possibly asked for. But let's talk about it. San Francisco and Philly. Let's start there because that was a hell of a game. And I just broke down a play on Twitter, actually, from that game, the Christian McCaffrey touchdown that was in the low red zone, not the one we'll be breaking down on this show. It's going to be incredible. But you just saw Shanahan's masterclass in offensive play calling and scheme and how he gives his team the advantage in real time. And this is one of the plays. A double reverse pass from Juwan Jennings to Christian McCaffrey. Great over-the-shoulder catch. Big-time play. You have the Eagles. They're running their RPO magic that they love to do. They live in the RPO world. You got a little half play fake, half pitch to Robinson, and this is the play right here. Climbing the pocket, finding Christian McCaffrey on the flat return out of the back, breaking down their combo coverage. The 49ers had the Eagles number finally. Brock Purdy threw some interceptions, but the defense of the Niners played incredible. The Eagles' offense could not get much going. They had their chances. You know, they could have done a little bit more. They got down there in the red zone late in the game, had some drops, but it wasn't enough. And I think that's been the Eagles all year long. It was not enough. And you look at the 49ers, they were able to find this 23-19 win with a bunch of injuries. They lost a bunch of guys. George Kittle out, Achilles. Fred Warner been out. Like, they've got a lot of guys that are out. They got guys off the street that are fitting into their scheme, making plays, and even Brock Purdy missed a bunch of time. I mean, it's incredible what the Niners have been able to do, and they got to be road dogs. They're going to go on the road this next week. They got to play against the Seahawks in Seattle. It's going to be a tough game, but I think them getting past the first round, not being a first-round exit, is a statement to who they are as a team, an organization, and what they've been able to, overcome. So anything after this, in my opinion, is gravy. Do I expect a Super Bowl run? Probably not, but this leaves the Eagles now in a spot where they've got some answers that they need to answer, questions they need to answer. Lost their offensive coordinator. Faithful, let's go. Eagles lost their offensive coordinator last year to the Saints. Kellen Moore, their offense looked terrible this year. Straight up terrible. Would not be shocked to see some movement going around, but I don't know, man. I'm seeing chat too. If LaFleur gets extended, I'm going to be really upset with our front office. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm expecting LaFleur to get extended. I think the league is expecting it. I think it's kind of a weak coaching cycle right now. Weak-ish. I don't think there's a Ben Johnson in this one. I think Kubiak might be that, but there's not like a Ben Johnson in this hiring cycle that I think could go in and just get it rolling. So let's get into it. Let's get into Green Bay and Chicago because what happened in that game, guys, it was crazy. I mean, I watched that with disbelief and just complete shock in all that even happened. Jordan Love, I want to give him his flowers because he played lights out. Romeo Doubs, lights out. Made plays all game long. And Jordan, I don't know if I saw it on Twitter where I saw it, but like one of the highest EPAs, maybe the highest EPA of any quarterback in this divisional round. Jordan Love was not the problem. But Caleb Williams, man, resilient. Caleb Williams made plays all over the field whenever they needed it. You got the Packers missing field goals. Ben Johnson, though, icing kickers. Like they just got out-coached and outplayed down the stretch. Nice little pump versus the cover 3, I believe it was. Somebody bit, got out of position. Like, they just played longer, harder, and better. And in situational football down the stretch, the Bears took it to the Packers. The Packers wasted timeouts. They wasted their clock management. It just wasn't good. It wasn't good enough. And it was the same old song and dance. And I think that is what is getting frustrating with those that want Green Bay to do well. But Jordan Love, 323, 4 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs, 2.9 yards per attempt. They ran the ball in that second half with so many zone runs that got stonewalled. They needed to get out of that scheme. It was tough to watch. That breakdown will be live later. Romeo Doubs showed up, showed out. But then the Bears, man, Caleb Williams, 50% completion percentage, but resilient. And it just goes to show you, if you're 50% as a shooter, but you're shooting, you're making plays and you're scoring points. And it just, I think we get tied so much up into stats and EPA and percentages and stuff. This game is about winning and doing whatever it takes. And every game has something a little bit different that it takes to win. I think that was a testament to what the Bears have shown us all year long. And quite frankly, the opposite of what the Packers have shown us. That even though the stats can be here, the stats can be there, you got to win games, you got to finish games. You can't chew clock, start in the second half. And I think pettiness is at an all-time high right now. And I kind of love this out of Ben Johnson, to be honest. He sticks to his guns. He is who he is. And I think you know exactly what you're going to get out of him. And I appreciate that in the modern NFL. Seeing something in chat about the Eagles is an abomination. It's tough. But LaFleur, expecting to get extended, I think it's tough because where he struggles right now, in my opinion, is game management, clock management, situational football. And I think there's got to be a long, hard look in the mirror for himself of how they do things. You look around the league, and in my opinion, there's better ways to do it than he does it. I think the Packers could rely a little bit more on a wristband system. Maybe it'll make it a little bit easier for him to get play calls in. Like little things that allow him the 5 to 6 extra seconds to then go look at the play clock. Those things that I think he's got to take a long, hard look in the mirror. And I don't know. I believe that they could bring in an offensive coordinator to call plays and he become more of a CEO style. I think that might fit him even better. But will it happen? I'm not sure. Let's talk about New England and the Chargers. This game to me was a defensive, just all-out brawl. And one thing that I saw after the game, I think I saw it this morning, the offensive players from the Chargers went up to one of the defensive players for the Patriots and said that they had no idea what they were doing all game long and that their scheme was really hard to play against. And I mean, you look at that turnover there on the 10-yard line. The Chargers have such a bad offensive problem, and it starts with their play calling. It starts with their offensive coordinator, and then it leaks into up front. But what do you want Justin Herbert to do? If you flip-flop quarterbacks and put Drake May in Justin Herbert's situation, Drake May probably has the same exact game that Justin Herbert has. But to only come away with 3 points when the ball is gifted to you inside the 10-yard line is all we need to know. Justin Herbert led his team in rushing. You saw Vital had 2.8 yards per carry, only 30 yards. Lad McConkey could barely get open. Like the Patriots just completely smothered them. And they got out coached. They got out physical, all of it. And the Chargers are not a playoff team. And that'll lead us into one of my hot takes for later. But let's talk about Buffalo and Jacksonville because this was another incredible game. Jacksonville, a lot to be proud of this year. Duval, a fun story to root for, a fun coach to root for. They were about that action. And it came all the way down to the wire. But you know what? Josh Allen was also about that action. He did everything it took to win this game. Trevor Lawrence made some mistakes, turned the ball over in his own territory a few too many times. And nice little tackle if you were in fantasy. Would have got 99 points there in some leagues. But Josh Allen, man, some way, somehow, Josh was just going to will his team to win this game. And you just feel that out of him. But it means nothing when the Jaguars fight back because the Jaguars also put themselves in a spot where they could win. But then they drove it down, got into a good scheme play on a little tight end wheel off the pump, got into the end zone, and then ended it off with this interception on a tip pick. Like just a good play by the DB. Receiver couldn't make the catch. Trevor Lawrence had 2 interceptions. It was too many. And the one at the end of the game, I think, is just trying to make a play. But the one earlier in the game, turnovers are killers. It's tough. And Josh Allen made just enough plays, just enough touchdowns. He had, 2? Did he have 2 rushing touchdowns? I don't remember. But I know he had one. I think he had one. But Josh had a great game. Cook did enough. It wasn't a great game. But the Jaguars' defense is really good. Jaguars are one of the better defenses in the league this year, especially in creating turnovers. And the Bills were able to weather that storm. Now, let's talk chat a little bit. Caleb Williams was nasty. Caleb Williams is going to be a problem, guys. Caleb Williams is a problem, and I don't want you guys to discredit him for playing in Chicago in that weather. His stats, guys, would be so much better if he wasn't playing in the weather of Chicago late in the year. I want to stress that. It is so hard to do what he is doing consistently in that environment. He's a baller. Ben Johnson gives them a chance. Would not be shocked to see them be the darling team that wins a Super Bowl this year off of just not willing to die. Being not willing to die, not willing to give up. They're going to go the distance. Now, they've got a bunch of injuries they've got to overcome, and they've got a tough stretch ahead of them. But I think of the draw that they got, I think they'd rather play the Rams than the Seahawks at this point. The Rams look vulnerable. We'll see. Drake May is a baller. Drake May is a baller. He finds ways to make plays. He's pretty accurate. He did what he needed to do for them to win that game last night. And that defense of the Chargers is not just some slouch defense. Why is Kevin Patullo still employed? The Eagles have a lot of questions, man. I got a lot of questions for him that they'll never be able to answer. I did see a video of Sirianni walking into the tunnel. Maybe it was a month ago, maybe a couple weeks ago. Nobody's talking now. They're going to be talking. They're going to be talking, and we are talking. Who do we got in Houston, Pittsburgh? I'm going to wait until we get to that segment to talk about it. But we got one more to talk about. Let's get to the Rams and the Panthers, because this game showed me that the Rams, I don't think are as good as we thought they were. But the Panthers are also not as bad as we thought they were. The Panthers already beat the Rams once this year. Panthers did enough, in my opinion, to win this game. But it came down to the wire, and the Rams were able to, clean it out, finish it off. But Stafford was dealing for the most part. Puka had a really good game. This is going to come down to, can you force pressure on Stafford to make him make mistakes? And can you get him off the spot and not let him hit these no looks and just deal to wide open receivers? And I think the teams that they're going to play the rest of the way, I think if the Rams play the Niners, might have their number a little bit. I think if the Rams play the Bears, depending on how the Bears show up after these injuries they've just went through, maybe. I think the Seahawks are the team to beat right now in the NFC. But Stafford, 3 touchdowns, 300 yards, interception. Kyron Williams, enough on the ground. But the Rams defense, I don't think is built for the playoffs right now. I don't know if the Niners defense is fully built for the playoffs. This playoff stretch, guys, is crazy. So I hope you guys are enjoying it just as much as I am. But we do have to preview Pittsburgh and Houston. Let's talk about it. Pittsburgh is one of those teams that is just, in my opinion, hard to play against. They have a weird scheme. They use tight ends in weird ways. They have, a lot of weirdness to how they run their operation. They're only averaging 100 rushing yards per game. They're only averaging 200 passing yards per game. Sacks per game, points per game. Look at how close these teams play. They're very similar, but I think Pittsburgh's defense, not as good as the Texans. However, Pittsburgh's defense can turn it on. They can turn it on. So this game is going to be, can Pittsburgh as a city show up for the game, be loud as shit? Can they get the Texans to make a little bit, a mistake here, a mistake there? Can they get ahead of the chains? Can they get ahead of the game flow of the game and hold on to a lead? That's what I'm looking at from Pittsburgh. If I'm the Texans, I'm trying to get Pittsburgh out of their scheme quick. I'm trying to jump ahead, trying to get a lead, all of that to make Pittsburgh have to play from behind because it's not really where they want to play from. So let's get the chat. Who y'all got in Houston and Pittsburgh? I think tonight I got to go with the homer pick. Packers just lost. I'm feeling a little sad. I got to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. I need Rodgers to come out and go on a little bit of a Super Bowl run. I would love to see that. I'd love to see Rodgers in an AFC Championship game, truthfully. And now he's got a couple games to go to get there. I think cannot have them go one and done for sure. But I don't know, man. I need a little bit more. I need to hold on to Aaron Rodgers' feel-good story a little bit longer. Patriots should be more scared of the Texans than the Steelers. I think the Texans are a scary team, man. I do. The only thing right now is that the Steelers get a home playoff game, and that's going to make this tough because the Texans play in a dome. They do. They play in a dome. They're used to that. Can they go and play in the cold? I'm sure they can, but it's gonna look a little different than Texans being at home with a nasty defense, loud on third downs, can't use a loud cadence, got to use silent count. It's a different game that they're playing. It's a different game. Let's see, Josh Allen's rolling maul play on the rugby scrum. That was hilarious. And the NFC West is crazy, guys. That is what I'm trying to say, I think, is the NFC West is for real, man. The NFC West is for real. And I don't know, I think the NFC West is for real. I think the AFC West is for real. And I'm looking at the two bottom barrel teams in those divisions, the Cardinals and the Raiders. Raiders have a lot of cap space, a lot of picks and stuff, but you got to play the Chiefs, the Broncos. I'm not so scared of the Chargers every year, twice a year. You gotta come correct. You gotta win your division if you're gonna make it to the playoffs. If you think you want to have a chance that way, because there's gonna be other teams in the division with franchise quarterbacks that are gonna be able to get it done consistently. But let's move on. let's move on. Let's get into divisional round predictions, guys, and I want your help with this. Let's go pop this bad boy up and let's see what we're looking at, okay? I'm going to throw it out there. I thought the Jaguars were going to be the team to go the distance in the AFC, and now they're one and done. So let's look at it. I'm going to say the Steelers tonight. I'm going to pick my one Steelers tonight. We're going to start with that. But let's go top left. Seahawks, Niners. I think the Seahawks are the team to beat. Give me the Seahawks. Then we're going to go Rams, Bears. I actually think the Bears are going to get that one done. I don't know about you guys, but I think the Bears are going to get it done. I think the Bears in home. I know Stafford's dealing. I know that they have a lot of talent on offense, but I don't know if the Rams defense can do what I think they can do, what I think they need to do. So I'm looking at this game. I don't want to get too far into the San Francisco Seahawks game. I think the Seahawks I think they're the best team. I don't think that the 49ers can compete with that defense at this point in time. But as for the Bears, I think the Bears are I don't know, man. I think something feels special about it. I think the Rams have shown that they're not as elite as we thought. And I think the Bears are going to do everything it takes to win that game. And I think they're just going to find a way, even with the injuries they had. Give me Caleb Williams in an outdoor game where he has to scramble as the upside that they're going to need over Stafford. Just going to take it. Now, divisional, we've got Broncos, we've got Bills. Man. Give me the Bills. Give me the Bills. I don't think the Broncos offense necessarily is built for it. I think Bo Nix is great. I think the Broncos defense is great, but I think the Bills go on road dog. I think they go road dog and they win this divisional game against the Broncos. I think the Broncos are not a great one seed team. It's going to be a hard game to play against, but I think if the Bills can run the ball versus that defense, they can win the game. And the Bills defense is playing good enough to slow down what I think is a pretty weak Broncos offense. So give me the Bills to get to the conference championship game. And then we got to flip it. We got to go Patriots-Steelers. Give me the Steelers. And there's probably another homer pick. Now, I'm starting to feel like I might be really wrong about this, but maybe this is more of what I hope happens. Give me the Steelers. Okay, give me the Steelers to go to the conference championship game over the Patriots. I think the Patriots are pretty fraudulent. I think the Chargers are fraudulent. I think the Chargers didn't even deserve to make it to the playoffs. They barely got in, and their offense is terrible. I think the Patriots are not as good as we think they are, and I think that we're going to find out against a team like the Steelers, who maybe has a little bit of a leg up in the run game, can kind of get it done in a way that maybe the Patriots aren't used to. I think the Steelers can get it done on the road. And then could you imagine, guys? Could you imagine if the Steelers get a conference championship game in Pittsburgh? Josh Allen comes to town. Aaron Rodgers versus Josh Allen, two guys that are friends. Who do you guys think? I'm seeing Seahawks, Bills. And I just feel like it ends in heartbreak. Does it end in heartbreak for the Bills, or does it end in... Give me Pittsburgh, man. Give me Pittsburgh to go to the Super Bowl and play against the Seahawks, because I think the Seahawks are going to beat the Bears. I think the Seahawks are the best team in the league, and I think the Seahawks are going to beat the Steelers in the Super Bowl. That's what I'm having. Give me the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl against the Steelers or the Bills, but I think it's going to be the Steelers. I think when you're looking at this path, guys, if the Steelers can beat the Texans, I believe that is the toughest team. If they can beat them tonight, I think the Texans are going to be the toughest team that the Steelers have to play all the way through the playoffs. I do. Because I think that the Texans were heating up at the right time. I do think the Broncos defense is tough. But I think that if they can get past this wildcard round, I think the Steelers could go the distance and lose to the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. I also would not be sad to see Josh Allen in the Super Bowl win a Super Bowl, but I don't think any of it matters because I think the Seahawks are going to win the Super Bowl. So that's my prediction. That is my prediction. Now, we do have to talk now about Harbaugh landing spots. And now, I'm going to be very honest, guys. I don't think that I'd be excited about Harbaugh as a head coach of a football team. If he was coming to my team, I would not be excited about it. He's better than some other people. He'd need to hire the right coordinators, but I don't think that the Ravens were a better team because of Harbaugh lately, to be honest. So The three spots that we're looking at, though, I guess we can talk about his resume a little bit. Let's look at Harbaugh's resume. So 18 years, 180 and 113, 12 playoff appearances, 4x AFC North champ, Super Bowl champ a long time ago. In my opinion, in 18 years as the Ravens head coach to only be the 4-time AFC North champ, it's a tough division. Don't get me wrong. Steelers have been in that division decent for a long time. Bengals have had their years. But I don't know. I think it's a good career. But I would not be excited about the future knowing that you got guys like Ben Johnson, guys like Liam Cohen, like these young guys that are changing franchises that have been bad for quite some time with new philosophies, new ways to do it. Like, I don't know. This feels like one of those things. But of the top landing spots that people are talking about, I think Giants, Titans, maybe Browns. I could see the Browns, getting him over there and trying to bring some of what it takes to win the AFC North maybe. But I think the Giants are probably the best landing spot, but he's going to have to hire the right coordinators. Maybe he goes to the Giants and gets a McDaniel as the OC. But I wouldn't be shocked to see McDaniel get the head coaching job at some of these other places that we'll talk about. So I don't know what the offensive coordinator capabilities look like of guys out there, but if Harbaugh is going to have success, I believe the Giants is the most attractive spot. They've got some studs. They've got a good draft spot, got the quarterback. They got a young defensive line that can eat by getting pressure with 4. And this is what I like. Titans, going to be tough. AFC South's going to be tough now. It's not a bad division anymore. But you do have a rookie quarterback that you can build around. And then you have the Browns who you're familiar with. Maybe you can switch things up. I don't know. But if I'm looking at it, give me Harbaugh to the Giants as the best landing spot for him and the Giants, knowing that he's not going to be calling plays. He's going to be managing the game to the best of his ability. And maybe he gets the right coordinators in. McVay and Shanahan are the best coaches left. I like those. I like them a lot. I think Ben Johnson's a really good coach. And Harbaugh does need great coordinators to thrive, dude. I could see Harbaugh elevating the Cardinals too. I think the Cardinals could use a little bit of that. What happens when the Texans shock the world tonight? I'm not going to lie to you guys. If the Texans win tonight and they do it in convincing fashion, I think that they might have – I think whoever wins this game tonight in the AFC is going to have a lot of people's eye throughout the rest of the stretch. F seeding. Who cares about the seeding of these guys? Whoever wins this game tonight, I think is going to have the AFC on notice a little bit. And I just think that we got some fraudulent action happening in the AFC. I just do. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. But let's get to the next one. I do have a question that I want to ask Copilot. Obviously, Copilot, making sure we're dialed in for everything we needed all year long. But I do have a little question for Copilot that I want to ask it. So, Copilot. So, I asked it, what year marks the largest head coach job vacancies in the NFL? This year, there's 8 so far. And then can you tell me about the 10 teams at the head coach vacancies of those teams in the largest year? So, according to Copilot, 2013 offseason left the NFL with 10 head coach vacancies. Now, of those 10, 9 of them were fired. So we have Ken Wisenhunt from the Cardinals, Chan Gailey from the Bills, Lovie Smith of the Bears, Pat Shurmur of the Browns, Romeo Crennel with the Chiefs. We had Andy Reid with the Eagles, Norv Turner with the Chargers, Malarkey with the Jags, and Munchak with the Titans. And then the Jets fired their GM, kept Rex Ryan, but the new GM created a vacancy in the head coaching spot. So we have 10 guys. 10. That's crazy. What are we going to see this year? Right now, I believe we're at 8. And so far. So it's not the craziest year of all time, but according to Copilot, it's up there with one of the craziest head coaching mix-ups, vacancy, all of that we've seen in quite some time. So let's talk about the perfect pairings for some of these. And now I don't think, there's no way to make it perfect, guys. So keep that in mind. But let's talk about some of these coaches, okay? Number 1, I think Harbaugh to the Giants makes probably the most sense. Would also want to throw out a flyer there. I could see Kubiak being interested in that job, and I could see McDaniel being interested in that job. So give me Harbaugh to the Giants. Then next, the Dolphins, I could see them with Stefanski, okay? Dolphins, Stefanski, maybe a little mix-up. I think I think for the most part, like the Dolphins need defensive help and they're going to win that division. I know he's not a defensive coach, but I think he'd get a good coordinator in. I think he'd have the offense competent enough. I think that the Browns were not great, but they had a lot of issues they were dealing with roster-wise. Then Ravens. Give me Cliff Kingsbury to the Ravens. Give me Cliff Kingsbury to run his style of offense with Lamar Jackson and just completely open it up finally for the first time for Lamar in his career. Then the Cardinals, interesting job. Raheem Morris, maybe. Maybe. I could see Raheem Morris ending up there. At this point, there are so many openings. Guys that have been fired are going to get jobs. It's just how it's going to go. The Raiders hire a familiar face in Vance Joseph, maybe. You guys tell me who you'd like to see, but that defense has been really good, and I think the Raiders could thrive with a defense like that. And they've got pieces, and they got capital. The Browns, Mike McDaniel, I could see Mike McDaniel rejuvenating a Browns team. He's got his problems too, but scoring points for the most part, not one of them. For the most part. The Falcons, I think, need to get Kubiak. Kubiak, I think, could be the hire of this entire cycle if he ends up with the Falcons. And then lastly, the Titans, we have Nagy here, but I also would not be shocked to see a Flores get in the mix with the Titans. Defensive-minded head coach, hiring an offensive coordinator for Cam Ward, but Flores, I think, will be a head coach in this cycle, some way, shape, or form, but there's a lot of moving pieces, guys. A lot of moving pieces all around the NFL, but we can also go back. Let's talk about the Falcons a little bit. Let's talk about the Falcons. So the Falcons, in my opinion, they just hired Matt Ryan, obviously, as the president of football, okay? President of football. I think he's going to clean house. I think he's going to do a really good job. I like the Kubiak connections. There's a lot of old West Coast stuff going on there with how Matt Ryan played. The Kubiak connection. Matt Schaub was also a backup there, connected to Matt Ryan, played for Kubiak's dad. Like, there's a lot of that there. Would not be shocked to see Kubiak go to Atlanta in a weaker division that has a chance to flip the script. I believe in D'Amico Ryans. Notorious, I do too. Solid McDaniels in Baltimore. Could you imagine? I would love it. I want Lamar to thrive, man. I don't think Lamar's been in a situation that has been good for him. You look at the Chargers. The Chargers have Roman as their OC. He was Lamar's old guy. They only put up 3 points this past week. They've had a hard time, man. I don't think their scheme is great. I'm seeing the Cowboys talking about a defense coordinator. They're going to need to find one. Don't think Saleh is going to make a lateral move there, but they need to find one. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Let me see here. Let's get into some bold predictions. Let's see. All right, let's get into these bold predictions. We got 3 bold predictions for you guys before we get into our film breakdown. All right. Number one. Give me A.J. Brown getting traded this offseason after being frustrated with the Eagles to the Baltimore Ravens. I want to see him out of there. I want to see him in a spot where he can use his talent. Hell, send him back to the Titans for all I care. Get him out of Philly. I want to see the Falcons hire Kubiak and win the NFC South. I think that division is suspect. And if I'm an offensive coordinator type of coach, if I'm an offensive coordinator going to be a head coach, give me the Falcons to go cook up. And they've got a really good defense, by the way. And lastly, if the Chargers keep their offensive coordinator, they will miss the playoffs next year. Those are my 3 bold predictions. Stamp it, save it, bookmark it, do all those things, because that's what I'm looking at for this next year. All right, now let me grab my co-pilot. And we're going to talk about how did this happen. One of my favorite sections. Let's see here. Get to my video. Oops. All right, let me get this pulled up. Now, boop, 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 boop. We all saw this play last night if you were watching ball. This is Shanahan being in his bag. Let's talk about it. So, hit a little double reverse pass. Now, remember Super Bowl, was it a year ago? Whatever it was. 49ers Super Bowl, Jawan Jennings threw a touchdown pass to Christian McCaffrey. Well, look at this play design. We're going to run a double reverse pass with a puller. But the cool part about this puller and the action of Brock handing it inside instead of over the top makes this seem like this is going to be a trap play, which they've run. But you're going to have Jawan Jennings off this backside on the flip. Look at what the trap move, the dip and out, this play design's incredible, does here. Opens it up, gets around the edge, completely lost in the sauce. Nice job holding it to the very end. By the way, Jawan Jennings, former, I think, 4-star quarterback recruit out of high school, gets hit in the mouth. hit in the mouth, delivers a dime to Christian McCaffrey for a touchdown. And that play was beautiful, man. Let's run that back from the beginning one more time. Just watch it all the way through, no stops. Look at this play design, guys. The puller, the trap fake. Man, what a dime, too, by the way, and an over-the-shoulder catch. I mean, it's perfection. It is perfection. They went the distance. Shanahan went the distance, was willing to go and pull out anything that he needed. Anything that he needed to win that game, and I'm happy for them, man. I think he is a great coach. I think he does a great job. We'll get the chat real quick before we wrap this thing up. I'm seeing Gavin. Hey, Brown to New England, I could see that. Drake May would be cooking with A.J. Brown. Who's more on the hot seat going into next year, Sirianni or LaFleur? Oh, man. Sounds like Sirianni's on the hot seat right now. It's pretty arrogant from what I can tell, and Philly fans are not happy. So I think if LaFleur gets an extension of his contract, he's not going to be on the hot seat unless they're willing to just eat it. But the Packers have no solo owner that they have to answer to, so it's a weird situation. Lastly, Jennings and Herbert tied in playoff touchdowns thrown. Man. It's tough. I'm not going to hold this one on Herbo, though. I think Herbo is a great quarterback. I think he's in a bad situation. And we've got games coming up. We got a great game tonight. I hope you guys enjoy this game. Enjoy the legacies that are being built, the storylines and all of it. And I will see you guys next week. Happy Monday. Appreciate it. Have a good one.